So hi, my name is Ophelia Boma and you're welcome to my content. Here I create mental health content because I want to help bridge the gap of mental health ignorance, reduce stigma, and also to help people navigate through their mental health life. So if you're watching me for the first time, I would like you to please spend more time on my content, get acquainted to the topics in mental health that you truly love, and also ask more questions or suggestions because I am available 24/7 to help you with your mental health. I do this with passion and it's a voluntary action to help people get closer to their mental health. So those of you who watched me on TV3 the other time on Perfect Match Extra Season 2, it was my first time conducting a couple counseling on TV, and I was a bit anxious, but I loved the journey because it was exciting, and I hope to do best next time. If you enjoyed it, this is the first part that I just want to create content on so that you can also practice it individually in your homes, between you and your friends, your partner, your love life, or your family. So the topic is about understanding love through communication and self-love. And for the part one of this content creation is going to be about communication. Okay, so first of all, we looked at the foundations of love. As a Christian, or not a Christian, or a Muslim, or whatever religion you belong to, there are foundations of love. But as a Christian, my foundation of love comes from 1 Corinthians 13:4, which is love casteth all fear, and love is patient, love is kind, love is forgiving, and all of that. So this forms as your values, okay, in going into a relationship. You need to find somebody who aligns with this foundation of love, because the foundation of Christianity is love. Why? Because Christ came to die for us out of love. Now, if you find someone who has the same principles and foundations, then you need to ask yourself, how did you first experience love? When? Where? What did you first do to experience love? How did you receive it? How did you give it? What happened to make you understand that this is love? For me, as an example, I realized this growing up because I grew up in a very humble Christian background, and the things that were provided to me meant love from my parents. The fact that I requested and I received meant love. The fact that I obeyed my parents also meant love. The fact that they listened to me through our daily devotions meant love to me. So now, as you can see, my foundation of love also is nurtured by the family that I come from. So I learned through my family, my siblings in the family, how we spoke to one another, how we played, how we forgave each other, how we were able to, sink into our daily activities in the house. Having said that, you also need to ask yourself, what is love to you? What does love mean to you? So if you are sitting with your partner now, or with your friend, or with your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend, ask each other, what does love mean to us? So you are setting this up through communication. So you ask yourself again, what does love mean to you? This is not to judge. This is not to create any form of imbalances. No, the reason for communication is actually to create a lasting bonding between you the two. It also means that it will help you to express your hidden emotions or your difficult emotions that you won't want to share because it's not actually a safe environment. Good communication helps you to be vulnerable and helps you to know that you can actually find solutions to troubling challenges. When people come to me at work and I give them an intake form and they tick whatever that is applicable to them, and they end up coming to me saying, my problems are many, then I correct them and I say, you are not a problem. You have challenges. Okay, so if you find yourself in a relationship feeling that you're a problem or that your partner is a problem, you approach them like they are problems. And you know how human beings approach problems: very, very straight, direct, very hard, very mean or rude. I mean, if something is a problem, it's frustrating. So when you approach them in a very meaningful way. But when you look at them as a challenge, you are very challenging, right? So we need to find what that challenge is and then solve that challenge. So when I end up telling people that I'm sorry, these are not problems, these are challenges, then I see them take a side. Okay, I see. This is a new thing to me. Yeah, because we do not solve problems in the mental health offices. No, we solve challenges. People are not problems. Okay. Now, the next thing that you need to know about is to have a clear communication. Now, communication is a very difficult aspect in the Ghanaian culture or tradition. Why? Because our channels of communication is very poor. What you say and what you receive is mostly totally different. And I've always realized this is because most Ghanaians do not have very good listening skills. We lack it the most. People listen to react, not respond, and there's a difference between reaction and responding. Okay, so for you to react through communication is just to listen aggressively and then react to some keywords that you have put inside of you. That is a trigger for anger, that is a trigger to defend, that is a trigger to combat, right? So the moment the person mentions that word and your heart receives it, then that is you just bantering whatever the person is saying. But to listen and to respond is actually to what? Assertively listen, to actively listen, take in these words, reflect on them, and then give a feedback. And this feedback is mostly a constructive feedback, not looking at the person as the enemy or as a problem, but making sure that you both have a mutual understanding and a mutual problem solving skills. Okay, so as you go through your daily walks of life, whether at work, whether in the family, or wherever that you seem to be having communication problems, you need to observe, what is the challenge here? Is it that I'm not perfectly listening, or is it that they are not listening to me? Am I using words or languages that they don't understand? Am I giving a posture, a non-verbal or verbal cues that make it seem like I'm disrespectful, or I am misinterpreting that they are being disrespectful towards me? You see, so when you ask these questions, at the end of the day, you're able to come out with a very constructive reasoning and constructive feedback to actually change how you see things. This is a key takeaway you must know. How do you communicate with yourself? How did you first learn to communicate? How do you make your decisions? How do you acknowledge your emotions? And when do you actually accept what you're going through in life? These are all channels of communicating with yourself. If you have never actually looked at yourself in the mirror, or if you have not actually spoken to yourself about an ongoing situation and calling your name, you call your name and speak to yourself. It means that you find it very hard to also speak to someone else. Why? Because of trust issues. Okay, so one who cannot communicate with him or herself cannot also communicate with a third party, because the person do not trust. The person do not find a safe environment to share. Very, very insecure, very, very self-criticizing and self-judgmental and everything. Now we need to understand the types of communication. We have passive, aggressive, and assertive communication. So for passive communicators, this is what they do. They put others' needs and feelings before them, and they never share actually what is in their hearts. And they do this just because they can't really stand up for themselves, and that's because they lack confidence. So even people who are well-meaning of them, people who love them, end up taking advantage of them or end up taking them for granted. Why? Because they are not confident in telling their needs or their feelings. They find it very hard to say no. Okay, so if you're in a relationship and you find out that your partner is always saying yes to you, even when you know that if it were you, you would have said no, it means they have a passive communication. And sometimes you need to also look out for them. Now, the reason for passive communicators are because, one, they might have had a traumatic childhood. They might have had it very difficult in life, so much that they want to give out so much more. Okay, these can also be people who feel that the more they say yes, the more they are being validated, the more they are being loved or liked, or they feel important in life. So there's the background to why people are passive communicators, and they should really be researched. Now, for assertive communicators, I love assertive communicators. This is because they are very confident and they are very straightforward and direct. They consider both needs, my needs and your needs. They also stand up for themselves. They stand up for their needs, their feelings, their wants, their emotions. But at the same time, they consider the other person's feeling as well. And so they end up making very assertive decisions. Like, I'll not do something that will hurt you. You will also do something that will hurt me. So we are able to find balance in what we want through this communication. Assertive communicators will listen without any interruption. They will clearly state their needs and wants. They are willing to compromise, but at the same time stand up for their rights. They keep a very good eye contact, and they have a very confident tone and body language. Like, they don't bow down their head and exude some low self-esteem. No, they are the ones that speak with confidence, with boldness, because they know what they want and they can communicate that out. Sometimes people look at them to be too much, or as in she's just extra, you know, like she shows off or something. But these are people who are just able to keep their emotions under control and express positively without hurting you. In aggressive communication, the communicator only expresses their own needs, wants and feelings. Okay, you don't even matter to them. Yeah, it's more like me, I, mine, and you are just not seen in the picture. Most of the times, people who are involved with aggressive people are being bullied, taken for granted, taken advantage of, and your needs are ignored. Like I said, you don't matter at all. These people are easily frustrated. They speak very loud, and then when you kind of like alerted them, they say, I'm not shouting, this is how I talk. They are unwilling to compromise. Like, who are you? Then they use criticism, humiliation, and dominance. Very domineering. Just do what I ask you to do. Don't ask questions. All right? And then they'll frequently interrupt you. They do not listen. Like I said, they just listen to react. You just need to speak and say, or you just need to speak and call a certain word, and they are all in your face, disrespectful towards you. Like, you don't have to say a word, just listen to me. And throughout the communication, you are just responding, just listening. You're not even being allowed to express your feelings or what you even think about what is going on. It's just all about them. These are what aggressive communicators. So the passive aggressive people are the ones who end up giving out their feelings, their needs, their wants, and then later on are sulking or are moody towards you. Okay, so since they are not being able to stand up for themselves, they end up being angry for the fact that you decided to go with their answer. Why? Because these people are normally soft-spoken people, like very quiet, allow others to take advantage of them, prioritize other people's needs other than theirs. They keep a very poor eye contact, and they lack confidence. Okay, so for example, for a passive-aggressive communicator, it's more like saying, I need your car. An assertive person will say, I'm sorry, I need it, but I can offer you a lift. Okay? Aggressive communicator will say, no, I need it. But a passive aggressive communicator will say, oh yes, you can have it. I can even fill the tank for you. And then when you use her car and then you come back without filling the tank, then she'll be angry at you. That's one thing about passive aggressive communicators. Now let's go deeper into how to have a good communication. You need to set clear intentions. I would always say, have topics you want to talk about, you need to communicate about, and don't go jumping into other topics. If you decide to talk about children's school fees, keep it within children's school fees. Don't go deeper into the teachers or your mother or your father or your brother-in-law. No, it's not necessary, because you need to gauge your emotions. And emotion sometimes helps in you finding the answer or ending the communication right. So if it's about feeding money in the house, let it maintain. Keep it clear. Let it be made known that today we are going to talk about just keeping money in the family, and that is it. Why? Because it is short, it is intense, and you can use the whole time and talk about it and find more answers and reasoning to why you really have to talk about, to how to get this challenge solved. Now, you also need to use clear languages, all right? Do not intellectualize, especially in English-speaking homes. People use big grammar, and people who use big grammar are normally people who try to be defensive. They just want to confuse the other communicator into thinking they are smart or something, but that is not a right move, because you need to stay on the topic and you need to have a mutual understanding, right? Look, a win-win situation is best for all relationships. A win-win situation. Don't always want to be the one who wins. Don't always want to be the one who thinks you're smarter. No, because the challenge is not solved, or the problem is still there. The fact that you have won doesn't mean that the problem is gone. It is still there. So instead of thinking that winning is more of what, having control over your family, no, it's rather you having the problem solved, you meeting the challenge in a mutual understanding and making it work for both of you. If you are alone, no problem, but if you're with someone, you both need to win. You both need to understand. It has to be mutual. You both need to be on the same ship to have this problem solved. Then avoid sarcasm. Sometimes you could be in a heated argument and you're saying things that, you know, that is not really nice, and you know what it means and your partner know what it means, but you still say it because, yeah, you need to let it out because of pride, because of ego. And it is wrong, because the moment you start to be sarcastic, then you have your partner wanting to be more sarcastic than you. So at the end of the day, you just spend and wasted your energies solving nothing, but just very mean to one another. And avoid interruptions, and then watch your body language. All right, it's very important for you to observe your partner. They might be lying through their mouth, but their body would sell them out. Okay, an example is when you ask, are you angry? And your partner says, no, I'm not angry. What do you mean by I'm angry? You see, the facial expression is, of course I'm angry. Right, the mouth is lying. Oh, what do you mean by I'm angry? But then the face is, all of it is there. And there was this meme that, I mean, it's usually a dog, and I mean, the man who asked the wife, are you angry? And the wife would say, no, I'm not angry. And the husband goes like, okay, smile for me. And the wife goes like, definitely an angry person can't smile, right? So you just fake it out, because body language says a lot, even than the tone of the voice. And in therapy sessions, we call that mood and affect. Now, what is a characteristics of an effective communication? So if you're currently sitting by your boyfriend or your husband, this is what you should do. After this video, you have to go through these characteristics I'm going to mention. Active listening and validation. Number one, as you're listening, you're nodding your head, and then you're giving off, you know, the affirmation like, oh yes, I agree with you. You see, and it comes with the emotion. When your partner says something unbelievable, you go like, what? You are agreeing, you're actively listening. The TV is not even on, or maybe the phone is somewhere, and you've got their attention 100%. They know that if I come to her, if I go to him, it is 100% active listening and validation. All right. Now, you can listen, you can understand, but you may not have to agree with them. Okay, it's more like a husband coming back from work telling you something that happened to work. You can understand, but you can say, I think you were wrong. You shouldn't have done this. It's because you did this. That is why he did that. Okay, so you can understand but not agree, and it is normal. It's fine. Number two, ask open-ended questions, right? Like how, when, can, who, what. And this makes the conversation wider. It makes your communicator go deeper into their souls, into their spirit, and share. Because open-ended questions allow the person to express themselves rather than just being direct or using the I, or just not really participating, because you need to be part of it. And this is by asking open-ended questions. Number 3 is to use reflections. Okay, for example, the tone of someone's voice, and then whether they are loud or semi-loud, and also their emotions, describing an event. You need to use that reflection when summarizing all that they have said, and it has to be on the key points they mention. Someone can speak a whole lot, but the person is just expressing how frustrating they were in that situation or event. So in reflection, you don't talk about the points or the many things they spoke about, but just focus and summarize. Okay, focus and summarize the very key points that they were saying. Important. 4th, be present, mind, body, spirit, soul. This is how to actively listen. You need to be seen, heard, felt, noticed. Okay, this would actually help your communicator to involve you in whatever they are saying. Number 5, listen with open-mindedness. Okay, sometimes you might think you are judging them in your mind, but actually your body shows it. Your body shows it. So try as much as you can to not be judgmental. Listen open-mindedly, void of any prejudice or discrimination or marginalization. No, just listen, and then at the end give your feedback. And then avoid using nonviolent communication, which is what every time you do this. No, that is the all or nothing people. Every time, all the time, always. Why can't you just change? You see, now when you do this, it's you present a person as a problem. And when you present a person as a problem, they would want to defend themselves. All right? It might just be 1 or 2 times the person didn't do it, but you say every time you're always doing that. That is not true. And you are saying that because you want to validate what you're saying. To you, you want to validate what you're saying, but the person hearing is like, oh, so me, I'm a problem. You don't even appreciate that I do this. You see, so you need to communicate that you don't need to lie to be validated. And that is what a lot of Ghanaians do. Whenever I'm listening to a lot of people on TV, they say, every man, every woman. And the moment you say that, because I know you want to buy my attention by lying, I just scroll up to the next thing, because I hate to be bought into your lies. So the best thing is sometimes, few times, one time, and that makes sense. It's actually accurate. But if you say all the time, yeah, I know you are having some emotional rundown, but you don't have to lie that always, all the time. Why can't I change? As if it is every time I wake up, I do that. You see, that way doesn't actually help in getting a challenge solved. So avoid all these kind of communication styles. And then in expressing your needs, there is the physical need and there is the emotional need. In my next video, I'll talk about the physical needs and then emotional needs. But for now, try to subscribe, because there'll be more content to help you to have a very good mental health. Bye.